Hello and welcome to the video on how to play the customer value analysis game. Obviously you're going to be in teams and you're going to be competing against other teams to make the most amount of money. Each team has a decision to make in terms of 6 attributes, and they're listed there from brand, trust, customer experience all the way down. So you should have a decision sheet where you enter your numbers and you've just got to fill in 6 numbers per round. So basically you can score from 1 to 10. So the starting point is 1, so that's the lowest score you can have. You can go all the way up to 10. That does not mean that 10 is the best. Just going to jump over here. This is our information on market shares, and each segment in the marketplace has different needs. So they prefer different combinations, different settings of these in terms of the scores, and it's your job to work those out. So just because you set something to 10 over time doesn't mean that you're going to score a very high market share. In fact, it may not be an appropriate design at all for the needs of that segment. So your job is to work out what are the needs of the segment and how do we construct our 6 numbers to best reflect the segment that we are pursuing. Okay, so what you have is a budget of 10 points per round. So each round you can add or subtract 10 points. So you can only change your numbers by a total of 10. So when you start, this is round 1, all of these sit at just 1 point. So by going to 3, you've spent 2 points. By going to 2, you've spent another point. You haven't spent anything there because it's already at 1. So as we keep going up, you're going to spend up to 10 points. You don't have to spend all of them. Later on, if you've gone too high and you want to come down, say you put an attribute of 8 and you wanted to bring it back down to 6, that's still 2 points. So any changes is worth points. And your instructor will have this spreadsheet. So if you accidentally put too many, your instructor is going to see that you've spent too much and they will ask you to reset. So the instructor sees this, and then you will be given the results for each round, round 1, round 2, and you'll see what we're trying to do is maximize profits across all rounds. So you'll have what are your sales. The sales will be based on how well you've met the needs of each segment. And these people here, Team 1 has 19.8% of the share of the market, which is at there. And then whatever the market size is, it's approximately 2 million in sales to start with. It goes up slightly each round, but not substantially. So they get 19% share of that. The best one, they've got just almost 21%, so they have more unit sales. So that is based on how well you are meeting the needs of various segments, and then that aggregates out. Come back over here. Then that's just market share. We worked that out. Revenue is simply that unit sales times a number which you have set here. You've set a number here, and the game takes a calculation of that. So the higher your margin, the more you will have in terms of profitability, but you may lose some in sales. So let's take one of these teams, Team 4, 415,000 in sales and 7.5 million. So 415, 7.5 million. We're going to increase that. We can't go all the way up because we've spent too much money, so I'll just swap that over. So that from 4 to 2, from 2 to 4, and let's have a look at the results. So our sales are down because we're a bit more expensive, but our profit has gone up because we've got a better margin per sale. Now keep in mind, if we go too crazy and we charge a lot of money, then the value is going to drop and we're going to see a reduction. So we saw some reduction in sales. If I just reset that, so 8.1 and 395, I will reset your decision. Okay, so we can see there's a trade-off there. So you've got to get that right over time. Obviously, we like to have a nice margin, but if we get too greedy and too aggressive, it could have a negative effect and we could actually see profitability fall. And with costs, that is based on unit sales times a cost number. A cost number is based on how much we have invested. So taking the 5 first attributes, not the profit margin, but that's the design of our offering. The higher that is, the higher per unit cost that will be. So the ones that, if you end up with quite high numbers here down the track, you will have a much higher cost per unit. So you'll see when you multiply those out, you go, oh gee, we've got a high cost structure. So you can bring your cost structure down by reducing some of these numbers, provided you're still meeting needs. Now, how do we work out how to meet needs? Well, your instructor will show you 2 things. One is the market share, which I've shown you before. So here we go, our 4 segments. Team 1 is doing quite well in segment 1. Team 2 is doing well in segments 2 and 3. We go here to Team 4. They're doing quite well there. But come down, I've got a bit of data in here. I haven't put anything in round 4, so you'll always see this at the bottom because we haven't got to round 4 yet. But you can see Team 2 in round 3 is doing very well in segment 2. So if that was our target, we would then model ourselves on Team 2. So Team 2 enters in round 3. Team 2 in round 3, that's their design, their offering. So this appears to be quite good for segment 2. So that's going to help us. And the other thing is what's called how well do we fit the needs. And I've already set this at round 3. So we're going to hit each segment. Okay, so, and it's going to show you major strengths, mild strengths, neutral, and weakness. So obviously a major strength is the best. So what we're trying to work out is Team 2, segment 2. So Team 2, segment 2 is down here, and you can see they have a strength, mild strength, so they can improve that. Major strength, you wouldn't want to change that. Strengths can be slightly improved to major. So they are strong across the board, but customer experience may improve. So we probably would want to look at changing that. So I'm going to change that to 5. Come back over here, and now that's a major strength. And we'll have a look at our market share, and that has gone up. Now it's 44%. If I go back and undo that, so that one change has added 10% to our market share. Okay, let's have a look at our profitability. So we were in round 3, we were making almost $7 million. Okay, I've jumped back over here now. We've improved our customer experience, so now it's a major strength, and we've gone from 7 million to 8 million. So you can see if we can get the value right by trying to get as many major strengths as we can in a segment. Now the problem is, as we become stronger in one segment, you can see that they've got weaknesses. So customer experience is a weakness here. It's neutral in segment 4, and it's a mild strength. So you cannot keep everybody happy. The game is designed just like the marketplace, that segments have different needs. So what meets the needs of segment 2 is not necessarily going to meet the needs of segments 3 and 4, for example. There's obviously going to be some crossover. There's some things in common, but they are distinct segments with different market needs. So to improve your performance, you've got to go, okay, which segments do we want to choose? Maybe 1 or 2, depending on how many teams are playing. There can be up to 10 teams in the game, but you may have less. And then you go look at your own self and go, okay, so we team 1, we've got a weakness there. We need to definitely change that customer relationship and probably change channel choice. So we need to improve that. How do we do that? That's a weakness. This team over here, they're quite strong. So what is their setting for that? Same thing with the mild strength. What's their setting? So that's one way of doing it. And the other way of doing it is looking at our market shares and going from that. Our ultimate goal is to change those attribute scores by working out what segments are valued, what are they looking for, and how do we best maximize profitability. And the winning team is the one that does the profit. So at the moment, this team here has made $25 million across 3 rounds. So they made $7 million, and then another $12 million or so, and then another $7 million. So they're leading at the moment. They're ranking number 1, but in actually round 3, which it's just had, they were 3rd in terms of that round's profit. So team 2 is now trending, and they're catching up. So that's one thing you've got to look out for. You've got to look out for all these metrics, what they do, but the ultimate goal is to see how well we can match the needs of a segment. Again, relative to competition. You may have all major strengths here, but if you've got another team, particularly when you have 10 teams, who is copying you or is duplicating you, instead of you having a whole segment to yourself, you've only got half that segment to yourself, or possibly even a third. So hopefully this will be a good exercise in understanding marketing and how we've got to meet the needs of underlying segments.